Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.
Okay, so welcome back to another astounding, amazing, energetic, exciting episode of the Scoreboard Addicts podcast. I'm Nick, and with me as always is Anthony the Rook and TJ, who's hammered. And you know, honestly, I like this setup a little bit more. I can point in both directions now. Feels really good doing it too. I got to say, it feels very old school DX where I'm like,
I don't like being last. What is this shit?
Well, get used to it. You're going to be wearing pajamas.
I did it in reverse alphabetical order.
Unbelievable.
I just introduced myself first because...
You selfish.
No, because I talk in first person, not in fucking... I'm not gonna lie. And lastly, it's me. Why am I talking if I'm last?
Why not? Third person, bro. A Bill Haywood needs to be able to speak his mind.
All right, easy there. I like how he referenced Danny Tartable, who like nobody remembers. Danny Tartable does it all the time. I'm not Danny Tartable's mother. I bet you right now, Danny Tartable's mother doesn't want to admit she's Danny Tartable's mother. All right, so let's get into it, guys. It was an amazing week of sports. A lot of crazy things happened. A lot of good things happened. Some bad things happened. But let's talk about it. Rook, what's the first thing on the agenda tonight?
Well, first I want to say, happy holidays to everybody out there. Hanukkah's now over, so anyone who is celebrating, happy Hanukkah. We've been doing this daily segment. I hope people have been tuning into it. The A Beer and a Take. We've done 9 episodes so far. Released episode 9 a couple hours ago. We have, we're going to keep going with it. We're basically just having a take, talking about whatever it is that's on our mind regarding the world of sports. And then we're also drinking a beer. We've tried some pretty good beers so far. We've done Yingling, Sam Adams, holiday beers. We've done, tomorrow is going to be the first one, but Bolero Snort is going to be on there. We've done Yards, Source Brewery.
Head, didn't we?
What was that?
We did a Dogfish Head, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, and Dogfish Head. Yes. I mean, we've done all these type of beers, local, big names, but it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed doing it. It's been exhausting because I have to edit a video pretty much every single night.
It's serious these days, man.
And it is it's fun, but it does get tiring. So I'm gonna, at the end of this, when we finally finish day 24, I'm gonna post an image of Jimmy Butler from the 2020 NBA Finals, and when he was like scoring like 40-something points, and he's just leaning over the railing there by himself. I'm gonna put the Rook after editing videos 24 straight days.
I think we've changed your name officially to the Ruben.
No, that's just you. That's just you.
But all right, so what do we got? Oh, one last thing. I saw the prototype for the new Kako Tuesdays shirts and the Manalapan shirts, and I want to say, people, they look phenomenal. And if you want one,
they came in.
You didn't see the prototype?
Breaking news.
Did you guys? Did you really not see it?
I didn't. No, I didn't. I'm really telling.
I sent it 2 days ago.
Did you really?
They sent it 2 days ago.
Throw it up on the screen.
God.
Oh, I can't throw it up on the screen.
I'll let me download this. Let's start talking about the some stuff. We'll get why don't you? Well, first, I guess let's do something that you guys talk about first without me having to be there, which is the New York Rangers. Obviously, the losing streak.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that you were there with me last Friday. You were there with me.
No, I was there with you.
And TJ seemed very upset about the whole thing, as if he didn't have an opportunity to go to the game.
I do have. I had to work. I do have.
That's not my fault. You didn't say that though. You made it seem like Anthony and I were, I don't know, like we're going against you or something.
I'm sitting at work. I see that text late, and Rook didn't waste a second and jump right in like, oh, hold on, let me see. Like, didn't even give me an opportunity. Let me find a babysitter. Instead of like, I don't know if I can go. I'll let you know. He just jumped in like, hold on, let me see. I got dibs.
And he said he couldn't go
because last year the same thing happened to me. I told Nick, I'm not sure if I could go.
Was it last year? It was 2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago. Sorry. And then I finally told Nick, I was like maybe 10, 15 minutes later, if I said I couldn't go, or I wasn't sure if I could go. By the time I told Nick and I finally got a sitter, I found out that he was actually, he gave ticket away to somebody else. So this time I wasn't letting that going to happen.
Wait. Hold on. Let's go to the timeout. It wasn't 15. It was 3 hours later. You got back to me saying I got a sitter. It was 3 hours later. I asked you at noon. You told me at 3.
It was not 3 hours later.
It was 3 hours later, hombre.
I'd give you an hour, but not 3 hours.
And I brought my little cousin.
You did. You took your
cousin.
You're
mad because we got to go on the ice and we got Madison level seats and we were eating lobster and sushi all night for free.
It was a once in a lifetime experience and I missed it. So I'm jealous.
I mean, you were slow on the trigger.
But why don't you guys talk about the Rangers while I get this stuff? I'll pop up the shirts. I just downloaded it. So get started on the Rangers.
All right. Nick, how about them boys?
The boys are buzzing, as they say.
What a streak, dude. A great home streak. Okay. What they win 7 in a row?
Yeah.
8 at home or 9 at home.
I just want to point out I have never, ever been to a Rangers game and seen them lose. Ever in my life.
Yeah, you should have been there last night.
And I told you guys we should go to the game because I'm good luck.
Yeah, you didn't get us tickets.
Rook's making the weirdest faces right now.
He has to poop.
But no, I think some of the encouraging things that we've seen over the course of the last week or so, a little bit more than a week actually, because they play hockey like every 3 or 4 days these days. It seems.
Yeah, there was a big gap in between, but they stayed fresh.
But Shesterkin looks like the best goalie in the league.
Hands down. That injury came at the worst time. Injury came at the worst time because you know what? That Avalanche game was the first real test of the season. I don't count the game that we played opening up against the Capitals. Everybody's, not fresh coming off of preseason. It was too early in the season. The guys weren't ready. They didn't find themselves. And at this point, that was the big test for them, rolling on that win streak. Coming against the Avalanche, who scored like a bajillion points in the 4 games between them. I believe in their previous 4 games, they had like 30-something goals. I believe they have 7 goals 4 times already this season in a game. Yep. They're a hot team. Their standings don't really show it. The Rangers, as far as points go, are ahead of them, but they came into the Garden rolling hot. They put up points, and they put up points against Huska. I didn't like the decision to start Huska. I think it was unfair to him to bring him up from Hartford and throw him talking about throwing somebody into the fire. They threw him into a raging inferno against that offense. And
not only that, but the rest of his team is sucking wind at that point, coming from another time zone. Granted, it's just Chicago. It's 1 hour difference. They
rolled in at 3 a.m.
1 hour difference for us. Think about this. Whenever they play in Chicago or on the West Coast and I'm up till 11, I feel it in the morning because I'm worked up until around 11 when the game's over. And then I'm worked up. At that point, I'm worked up and I'm up till midnight. Now I got to wake up at 6 a.m. and I've gotten 6 hours instead of 8. And you don't feel good the next day. It's a little thing. It is. And they're professionals. Get over it. They are. And they won't make excuses for it. But as a human being, you should be able to at least understand and empathize that, it does play a role and a small effect. And playing hockey back-to-back days is not the easiest of things to do. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's not the easiest thing to do. And you're right. They put Huska in almost an impossible situation against a very high-scoring team, take a lot of shots, and the rest of his team is sucking wind. So I honestly would have rather seen Georgiev in the net only because he's been bitching about not getting enough playing time.
You know what? And Georgiev has to take his lumps. He's very inconsistent this season. One day he comes out and looks like a pro goalie, and the next day looks like he should be down playing junior somewhere. I think Georgiev should have been in there taking his lumps. I think that game, on top of being a test for the Rangers, would have been a test for him to see how he stands up against a high-powered offense like the Avalanche. I would have liked to see what Georgiev did there. I don't think bringing Huska in there for that, you're not getting a real feel of what he can do. They should have started him against somebody. I would have rather them start him against Chicago. Maybe the mental chess game of Gallant was, listen, I think we could pull off a win. Let's get Georgiev in that net in Chicago. The Avalanche might be a lost cause. They're coming in hot. Let's just get Huska in there. But I don't like the move. I understand the move secure the win in Chicago. But I don't like the move of you're just throwing him into the flames, and he could have stood on his head and had an amazing game, and I think they still would have lost.
I agree. And but other things to be happy about. Nils Lundqvist got his first score. Yes, he got his first goal. Every time I hear his name, I think of Hank. I mean, that's an unfortunate coincidence, I guess, for him, because he's gonna have to. I don't think they're related, but he's gonna have to.
No, it's spelled totally different.
It's right, just different spelling, right? It's his is Lundqvist as opposed to Lundqvist.
Lundqvist,
like right?
yeah.
Hank has a V, right? Yeah.
No, this kid has a V.
Oh, Hank didn't have. Okay, yeah. So I just think that Oh, what I was saying was he's gonna have to kind of like get away from that. You know, you got the same name as a legend, and it's hard. You want to make a name for yourself, regardless of whether you're related or not. You know what I mean? But he scored his first goal yesterday. And
that was a nice goal. That was a beaut. That was no garbage goal. That's the type of first NHL goal you want. Top corner, ball down, back in the net.
What I liked about it was he fist pumped. He so hard that he fell.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's
Love
just
to see
pure happiness. That's elation. That's, he's so excited. He just made his first major, like that's a step, right? Like you're getting your first hit in baseball, or your first touchdown in football, or basketball scores so many points so easily. I don't think they have any big deals that are first. I don't know. Do they, Rook? In basketball, is your first point a big deal?
Yeah, I mean, they don't make the biggest deal of it, but it is like
every 3.2 seconds. The easiest sport to score in.
Yeah, listen, but they still make a big deal about it. Like if you go back, they have Kobe's first points.
Do you get the ball?
Line. No, they don't change the bar. Like
then it ain't that important.
Let's put it this way. If you go the history of hockey, right? Everybody that's ever played the game, okay, the NHL's been around, or the original six and stuff like that, over 100 years. If you wrote a book for anybody that's ever scored a goal, that book is pretty damn small. Okay, so scoring your first goal in the NHL, that's an accomplishment that 99.99% of people that just play hockey, not people in the world that just play hockey, will never get to accomplish. It's such a small elite thing, and scoring against a goalie in the NHL, pro caliber, that is a feat in itself, something we will never be able to achieve. So for him to get that in that spot, beautiful shot. I loved it. And to see that intensity and get that monkey off your back, I hope that opens up the floodgates. I hope he starts putting the puck in the back of the net more often.
So more interesting stuff going on, right? We brought Ryan Reeves in to be the big the Grim Reaver, terrorizing other teams, and Jacob Trouba slowly but surely has come through and putting the people through walls and such. Just a small thing. I know, T, you have a lot to say about this. A small thing that Jacob Trouba is the 5th player in NHL history to have back-to-back games with a Gordie Howe hat trick, and the first one since Stephen Lynch in 1992. Now, for those of you who don't know what a Gordie Howe hat trick is, it is a goal, an assist, and a fight. And he did that against the Blackhawks because he put the screws to Karen, and then yesterday he knocked out McKinnon pretty well too. Both clean hits. T, talk to me about that.
Well, let me ask you this, Nick. A little fun fact: how you know what? I'm gonna mess this up, but
say it. What are you doing?
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Dead air.
How many Gordie Howe hat tricks did Gordie Howe have in his career?
That was close to what I said. I have no idea. How many did he have?
That was pretty
throw it out there.
I'm gonna say
25.
Wait, how many years did he play? 20, like 22 or something like that?
No. Actually 18, 19 seasons, I think. I forget.
I think it was maybe 19. All right. So let's say he played 19. I don't know. What's 3 times 19?
You're way off.
Am I?
He had one Gordie Howe hat trick in his career.
Did he?
Wow.
Then why do they call it that?
Wow.
Coined the name, it's stuck. And it's Gordie Howe. I mean, come on.
It's Gordie Howe.
It works. If I told you it was Franz Fernandez or something like that, you'd be like, who? You want to name it after somebody that everybody knows. You say Gordie Howe, everybody knows who the hell you're talking about.
But talking about Trouba, and I know you got a lot to say about Trouba.
Listen,
I just want you to know, he hit both those guys, and all I heard was
fatality.
Dude,
That's all I heard.
He's banging bodies. He's playing like a real Northeast defenseman. He can score. He can get assists. He gets involved in plays. Okay. It's everything you want out of a big boy standing at that blue line. And now he's really throwing the body around. All right. Two
What it
hits.
is? He's not the only one that's going to fight. That's what it is.
Right. Listen.
You don't have to sit there and go, I can't get into a fight right now because then I'm not there to defend somebody else.
Right. And the Rangers are pretty solid on defense. He's one of the biggest guys out there other than Reaver over there. So it's fine for him to get in a scuff. The thing I don't like, okay, and it's rampant in the NHL, when you throw a big, clean hit, okay, both of those hits were clean. We were arguing with people on Twitter all week this week, okay, shoulder down, driving through the chest of the opposing player, elbows down, stick down. That's how you check. There's nothing dirty about it. If you keep your head down in the NHL and you try to carry the puck, you are going to wake up in the back of the locker room. End of story. You keep your head up. It's hockey 101. And he happened to catch both guys with their heads down, and they paid the price. You keep your head up. Okay? But the thing I don't like, Trouba should not have to answer the bell and drop the gloves every time he lays a big, clean hit. It's getting ridiculous. Big hits happen. Let it go. And you know what? Trouba's handling himself pretty damn well. I think he took both those fights pretty easily. Okay? He came out on top, the victor. I think the more that happens and the more he roughs people up after laying the beats, and now that's a momentum loss in your department. You go and you try to defend your player after a clean hit, which you shouldn't do. You shouldn't be dropping your gloves against somebody that laid a good hit. Ramp up the intensity and you lay a hit on somebody. You don't need to drop the gloves.
It's akin in baseball as somebody hits a home run off for you and you drill the next batter.
Yeah, it's played out, but you know what? Get a little old school. You know what? They're throwing hits, you throw bodies back. But it's the fact that no one, listen, Reeves bangs bodies better than anybody out there for the Rangers right now, and no one will drop the gloves with him. No one, because
Trouba might end up getting a reputation like that. He's winning these fights.
He's winning the fights. Dude, he's a big boy. And like, you know, like I mentioned on Twitter the other day, people are like, oh, well, it was shoulder to chin. No, he aimed for his chest. The guy's head was down, and he unintentionally caught his face along with burying his shoulder into the guy's chest. How do you avoid that? That's like every time, like, come on, we complain every week on Sunday about the bullshit. You can't tackle the quarterback. You can't touch the quarterback. If you land even a little bit with your weight on him, it's a penalty right away, 15 yards, first down, and it's bullshit. And you want to soften up the game. A couple of years ago, it was get rid of the fighting. They tried so hard to do it. You can't take off your helmet during the fight. You can't do this and that. Okay?
When they came up with that rule and the guys took each other's helmets off.
Yeah, it was great. Great. And then they outlawed that after the game after. But it just goes to show you that you want to soften up a game that's been perfect for over 100 years. Leave it alone.
Violence. It would be like if
but it's not even violent. Like everybody wants to act like hockey's a violent sport. A fight is, you are less likely to get hurt in a fight than getting a regular open ice check. And how many open ice checks happen on a nightly basis in any NHL game?
The case right now, though, is that they're trying to. A lot of people are sitting there going, "We need to stop these checks."
Bullshit. Then you're watching a men's beer league.
It ruins the game. But I just want to point out, every sport where there is physicality and contact involved, the rule in all those sports is keep your head up. In football, you don't tackle what you can't see. Why? Because you'll break your neck. Boxing, in boxing, you keep your chin tucked, but if you look down, you're gonna get uppercutted right in the face. Like when I was going through Modern Army Combatives program, that was the first thing they told us. Like, when you go into clinch, don't put your face down. I'll punch you in the face, like a straight uppercut right to your face. So these guys are making rookie mistakes. You learn that in Pee-wees. Don't put your face to the ice, and they're doing it. And I understand their teammates don't like the fact that they're getting slapped around, but.
It's one thing to defend. I love when people defend their teammates, but you're defending them against a clean check. And you know what? It looks bad. It looks rough. It looks violent. What do you expect when somebody's skating at 15 to 20 miles an hour one way and 15 to 20 miles an hour the other way, and both of them weigh over 200 pounds? You're essentially getting into a car crash. You're getting into a car crash. And guess what happens when you're not paying attention? That's like having your seatbelt off and getting into a car accident. Okay? You're not paying attention. Your head is down. You're going to take the worst end of it. End of story. And I don't think you're taking Trouba out of the game for 5 minutes, okay, because you want to defend your teammate because he had his head down and received a clean check. And I honestly like seeing the other night with the Avs, him getting the instigator for picking the fight with Trouba. Yeah. They should start dealing that more.
I don't want McKinnon hurt. I don't want Karen hurt.
No, you don't want to see anybody get hurt.
But it's unfortunately it's part of every sport. People get hurt. Anybody asking for a Trouba suspension, this is what I've got for you. You're flat out wrong. That's it. I mean, but I think we've harped enough on the Trouba train and it coming through into a station near you. Next game for the Rangers is on Friday. And
Nick, I just want to mention, speaking of stations, obviously the Garden's on top of Penn Station. So we obviously went to the game last Friday, as we were talking about before.
Rub it in.
I have not been to New York City in 2 years because of COVID. I moved to Jersey. Obviously, I have not been in there. I could say I'm actually happy that I'm not in New York City anymore. As soon as I got out of the car, right, the smell of homeless piss and the smell of weed just hits me in the face. Just the entire time getting harassed, asking for coins and money.
That's because you have a weak face. Nobody asked me for shit.
No, that's not why.
You're from New Jersey. They can smell the townie in you. They're like, he ain't from here.
Don't stop. Don't try to defend.
They looked at me. They were like, he's not giving
de Blasio's New York. If you defend de Blasio's New York, you might as well.
I'm not. I'm defending my city, New York, from some fucking shill from Jersey. His kid's gonna be a Devils fan when he gets older. This kid's gonna have to defend herself.
My story. Why do you always interrupt?
She's not from New York.
Nick, you always interrupt. You never let everybody finish. You always interrupt everybody. So let me finish the story.
Mute him. Mute him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good idea. Good mute. I have the power of muting him. There you go. You muted. Anyway, so I get to the steps of the Garden, and there's just blood stains everywhere. Just blood stains on the step of the Garden. I'm like, I don't miss this New York at all. Do I miss New York the way it used to be? Of course I do. I love living in New York. Love going to the city every weekend. But the way it is now, I do not enjoy going there at all.
Do you love Jersey so much now? You fucking traitor.
I muted TJ by accident.
Thanks.
The best part is Nick actually stayed quiet during the mute and he wasn't even muted.
The problem is, and I don't mean to take it in a political way, but the cops aren't allowed to do their job. Homeless is rampant because you're just gonna be homeless and shooting up everywhere. There's just drugs and needles all over the friggin' place, and it's played out. And New York is not the same place. Again, we're born in the 80s, okay? And we were lucky enough to be in a time where when we were getting taken to the city as kids, they started Disneying up the Times Square. It wasn't the Times Square of the 60s and 70s of just drugs and hookers.
No more hookers. What's that about?
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, where'd they go? They got to be somewhere.
Now you go to Times Square and you see a bunch of people walking around like gems.
The city hasn't been the same ever since Giuliani secretly murdered all those homeless people.
No, he just put them on a bus and sent them to California.
He sent them to fucking Jerseys where he sent them like we sent the rest of the trash.
Listen, it's the fact that I feel bad. Before all this crap, before it started getting really bad, pre-COVID, we would take the ferry with my son into the city. We would go walk around Central Park, take him to the Central Park Zoo, go on the carousel, do those types of things. And now he's in school. He's in first grade. And I loved going to the Museum of Natural History. I love going to Hayden Planetarium. But now it's like, do I really want to be jumping over homeless people with my 6-year-old, getting bothered, asked for change and stuff like that, and the potential of getting stabbed, and that person's going to walk free that night because there's no bail. You just go on a stabbing spree.
Yeah. When we were kids, New York was the exact same way. I remember being a kid and homeless people being fucking everywhere.
It was not, dude.
There was homeless people everywhere. I had to go into Manhattan with my mom regularly. I was terrified of homeless people because Oscar the Grouch was homeless and he was terrifying.
Dude, but they weren't everywhere. Let's put it this way.
They were. You just didn't realize it.
No, they weren't. They weren't, dude. A couple months ago, we had to go into the city to do a homeless clean out, right? And there is I won't name the shop, but it's a very prominent high-end furniture store in Manhattan. Okay, right in Midtown. I'm talking about you want a bedroom set, you're going for $25K easily. Okay. And we're doing a homeless clean out there because there's about 6 people setting up tents up against the windows of the storefront. Are you going to walk into that store and drop 25, 30 grand when some dude is literally washing his balls up against the window?
I would masturbating.
Yeah. Or just ripping one out because, they have the right to be here. Like, okay. That makes sense, dude. New York City is turned into a shithole. It's a shithole.
It happens every 20 years. It happens every 20 years, guy.
Listen, dude. Listen. I want to get away from the political nonsense because whatever, it is what it is. But New York is not the place we went to when we grew up. It's not as fun anymore. It's not safe. It's not safe at all. Fucking dude sets the Christmas tree on fire in front of Fox headquarters. It's like, are you serious? Yeah, and he's out the next day, the next morning.
All right,
it's a joke.
Let's try to do this here. I'm going to try to show the let's see. Does that work here? How do I do this?
Oh, I like this. It does get into my nooks and crannies of my face.
Oh, that's just an overlay.
Taco Tuesday shirt. Do that.
All right. Well, no, we'll do this way. Here's the new Caco Tuesday shirt, the new mock-up. We did this one, which I like it. I like the black and white.
I like it.
No color? No blue?
So the other one, neither of them have color in it. This is the other one, but it's blue, but it's obviously it's switched. The shirt's blue, and the Scoreboard Addicts will be in the back.
Is Caco left-handed?
That's what I was gonna say. I think he's right-handed. I think this one's more accurate, but there's just no blue color into it. So we'll talk to them.
Yeah, we got to get a little red, white, and blue in there. Because our original mock-ups are better than that, I think.
Yeah, and then so we have the other Manalapan one. I actually like this one because I like the color, but this is Manalapan.
That's dope.
I like it.
Then we have this one as well. Manalapan Township, New Jersey.
I like the first one.
On the Manalapan Township, New Jersey shirt, like on their page.
Yeah, and then here we go. This is the other one. I actually like this one the best.
I don't get it. Big black rooster.
We'll go with that one.
I don't get it.
I like it.
That or the second one. We might sell 2 of them.
No, the first one definitely.
The first one's
the first one. I got to scream out, Utah, give me 2. Little meatball sub action. Dude, I like that one. The Caco one needs a little more color, a little more emphasis. Just, I would say, make sure they put up the scoreboard, little thing higher up on the neck because for whatever reason, doing it on Zazzle, it put it right in the middle of the shirt. I still like it, but it needs to be a little higher up on the.
Yeah, I was gonna tell the same thing. Make sure it's like a smaller version of the logo just on the top there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we pretty much drilled into the New York Rangers there. So we're gonna move on.
Wait a second. We got to tip our hat to our man, Ryan Reeves. Okay. The fourth line is a big spark. You got Rooney putting the puck in the back of the net. Okay. Dunking that biscuit, baby. And Reeves with 5 points on the year. Okay. A guy that's a goon, is not out there to do anything but throw the body and get into fist fights. And he's making awesome passes and setting up goals, not like a goon accidentally hitting off his leg or something like that. I mean, he's picking up the puck and putting it in a place where somebody can score easily. It's amazing. And did you see that dude we follow on Twitter, the stat kid?
Stat boy Steven?
Yeah. Shout out to him because I got to find the tweet real quick. I won't do it, but essentially he listed about 6 players on the Islanders that aren't considered goons that Ryan Reeves has more points than collectively.
Yeah, and I'll say this: how do you beat that? I've been rooting for Reeves to score because I know they've been asking him about it. He's like, yeah, of course you want to score, but you know what? If I'm getting points passing the ball, then it is what it is. We're winning. Why can't I can't be mad? We're winning.
He's not useless. That's the point. You don't want your fourth line to be useless. You need them out there to get a spark. You need them out there to get your first and second line of rest.
His assists are not just they're impressive.
They're crisp.
The legs type stuff.
Dude, they're crisp. They're crisp assists. Okay.
They're vibing real well.
Yeah. He gets involved in the play. And the best part is when he throws a hit, he gets right back in the play. He's not standing over a body. He's not trying to goon it up. He's not looking for a fight. You want to go at him? You want to fight him? He's there. But he's there to light the fire, give his boys on the first and second line a rest.
Bang, bang, bang the drum.
That's it, boys. But all right. Now we can move on because I am 100% on the Reeves bandwagon. I love the move. I love the pickup. I love that we have him through next year.
Ryan Reeves, hit us up, man. Let's talk.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That beer, Grim Reaver 75. I want that beer.
Also, so let's, I guess, move on to. I think we'll hit up college football before we get into NFL first. But before we get into the CFP, I do want to say
it's not like the others. One of these teams
just
doesn't
belong the entire time as I'm trying to talk.
Right. I'm the only one here that watches college football.
What's that?
I said I'm the only one that watches college football.
I watch some of it. I watch the big names, but I do want to say before we get into college football, college basketball, big night for the New Jersey team. Rutgers defeat Purdue, number 1 in the nation, by 2 points. I don't know why you're doing that. That's pretty impressive win. Being unranked team
college basketball
to being an unranked team to beat Rutgers. I mean, to beat Purdue, number 1 team in the nation, and then Seton Hall basketball beat number 7 in the nation tonight. So big night for the Jersey teams. Well, Seton Hall beat Texas. I didn't say who they beat, but it's a big night in college basketball. A lot of upsets. So that's fun, and the fact they're both local here with Rutgers and Seton Hall, it's pretty impressive. So going from there, college basketball into the college football playoffs. So we have.
Before I start about that, I just want to point out the local teams are St. John's and Syracuse.
For what?
New York. This is New York, right?
Well, first of all, if you listen to any like New York sports radio, it's always the tri-state area. So
no.
They include Rutgers, they include Seton Hall.
If I could, I'd give it back to England because it's shabby and classless, just like you.
Do me a favor. Listen to the fan tomorrow morning. They're gonna say,
"I would never." They employed
Rutgers
for years. I would never listen to the fan.
They'll talk about it on ESPN2 New York. They'll talk about them. They talk about Villanova. Villanova's not local to New York either.
Fucking basketball.
You're horrible, Nick.
Anyway, but look at these college football teams.
All right,
one of these teams does not match.
So we got Bama versus Cincy, and then Big Blue Michigan versus University of Georgia. And Nick keeps referring to it. First time a Power 5 team. It's a Group of 5 team. Cincinnati.
I honestly don't know where the fuck they came from.
They're undefeated.
I'm not saying they're not undefeated. I'm just saying this is when the fuck is in. I think this is my ultimate problem with college football. Right?
Go ahead.
There are some leagues, some divisions in college football, right? There are some conferences in college football where the competition is super stark, the SEC being one of them, all right? The ACC used to be, but the ACC is kind of on the rise a little bit. North Carolina playing a lot better than they previously had. Florida State's starting to come back after an abysmal 2 years. And Miami, they're going through a struggle right now. Clemson obviously was riding high for a very long time, and VT was running high when Mike Vick was there. They were a very accomplished team. Wake Forest has always kind of been trash, and North Carolina State is like, here and there, they're good. You know, when they had Philip Rivers, they were doing great. But Cincy, what conference are they playing?
Isn't it the American?
Yeah, they play in a fucking trash conference. All right, so you could be moderately, almost kind of good, and go undefeated.
Yeah,
but do you think they get rolled over?
Beat Notre Dame.
So Notre Dame fucking sucks because Florida State. You guys know me. I'm a huge Florida State fan, and Notre Dame beat Florida State by 1 fucking point. Notre Dame is trash. I don't give a fuck. Notre Dame hasn't been relevant since Joe Montana played at fucking Notre Dame. Well, name me a fucking player that's come out of Notre Dame in the last 30 years that's worth talking about.
Manti Te'o.
Oh yeah, Manti Te'o and his imaginary girlfriend. Fucking incredible. The best player they've had in 20 years is Golden fucking Tate.
And his fake girlfriend, the
Manti Te'o.
Fake girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's a great.
Is he in the NFL anymore?
No.
Is he even on a roster? No, right?
I don't think so.
And what? That was 4 years ago where he got drafted?
I'll fact check it, but I don't think.
I'll say this right now. Manti Te'o, I'm sorry, Notre Dame and certain schools like USC and Texas in the last 20 years, completely fucking irrelevant. The last time USC was relevant, they were paying kids to go to their school against the fucking rights.
Listen, all I know is Notre Dame, year in and year out, grab a redheaded stepchild and throws him in a leprechaun uniform and puts him to work. Who else is hiring the redheads? Okay, give some love.
My sister, because my brother-in-law is a redhead. But yeah, fuck Notre Dame. All right, they're trash. All right,
you hate them so much for no reason.
They haven't been relevant since Rudy, but we talk about them every year.
So last time he played was
they're still a team to watch. They're still a team to watch, dude.
Why? They suck. It's like Texas. When was the last time Texas was good? When Vince Young played there.
Let's put it this way. Why do we watch Army Navy every year? Either way, they're both irrelevant fucking teams.
No. Army Navy is a tradition. You're watching your future fighting men play.
I agree, but neither one of them.
Notre Dame, a fucking. Why do you give a fuck about Notre Dame? They haven't been relevant in 30 years.
Still fun to watch.
Oh, because they're the Fighting Irish and I'm Irish. Big fucking deal.
Say that at all. I didn't say that at all. Stop being a racist. Okay.
It's fucking true. Anyway,
you're ridiculous right now.
So
you're being
absolutely.
Mute.
My biggest problem with college football right now is that fucking the AP decides who's a good team, and that's completely opinion based. It's like if everybody has the same opinion, you're ranked number one. Okay, where's the proof in the pudding? And I saw somebody come out with a new college playoff where basically if you won your conference, you played another team in a bowl, and they just kept going into bowls until you got to a national championship game. And almost like the Sweet 16 for the the national college basketball championship, And I think that's better because a team like fucking Cincy wouldn't make it out of the first round. They're only in this playoff because a group of reporters said they're the best. Okay, and who do they have to play to do it, to prove it? Nobody.
Who's actually in the committee? Like who are the big names of the committee?
I mean, it's the AP, so if you're an Associated Press affiliated reporter, you have a vote. Same thing with the coaches poll. It's the same deal. Like if you're a coach, you have a vote.
No, I don't think that's it, Nick.
So the AP poll is Associated Press poll.
No, I'm saying the committee to pick the actual games is like there's seems like there's 1, 2, 3.
It's always going to be whoever's 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, it's not. It says the athletic directors, there's Arizona State professors, but they're not people on the like.
If they picked somebody out of the top 4 to be in the college football playoffs, the world would riot.
No, I mean I guess I get what you're kind of meaning, but I don't know.
It just.
I think it's still a committee that does it, but I agree with you though, Nick. When it comes to it's a bit more than 6 people. There's a bunch of people in here, but I would say with the committee, like regarding the playoff, I would prefer like a 6, 7, even 8. You have to go 16, 12, whatever it is. More teams, the better. It makes more money for the colleges too. NCAA. I think it should expand it, but I want to kind of talk more about instead of what the playoff is, but more about the matchups that we have here. So we have Bama, Cincy first. You have the SEC champions, Alabama, who came back, defeat Georgia. They had a tough year in the beginning. I mean, they only lost, 1 game, I think, and they almost lost to Auburn. Then they come into the SEC championship, and they just wax the floor of Georgia. It was incredible watching it. I thought Georgia was going to come in there.
First quarter of that game, everybody was watching going, oh, my God, Alabama's going to lose.
Yeah, and then also next thing you know, they took over. And UGA has been a good team. They've been a good team all year. I was actually shocked they got as badly beaten as they did.
Who's the player watching that in the Cincy Bama game?
I don't know anyone from Cincinnati, but I mean, I think most of the Bama players are obviously important to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, what's his name? Bryce. Is it Bryce Young? No, Bryce Young.
It's Bryce Young. Yeah.
Yeah, Bryce Young. I mean, he's coming. He's playing better than he was before. Everyone was saying he's a question mark on that team, and he could lead this team to a championship. But he's definitely playing better. And Cincy, I don't know anyone from Cincy, but what I'm looking forward to. So besides the Bama Cincy, I don't think that game's gonna be close. I think Bama takes that, goes right to another final. And then I think between UGA and Big Blue, Michigan, the big matchup there is going to be those big boys up front in Michigan. They have an incredible offensive line, just push bodies around.
They have an incredible defensive line.
Yeah, they do too as well. And so does Georgia. So, I mean, when it comes to watching, Michigan against an Ohio State, I root for Ohio State. I watched that game and I'm just like, they could not stop this run. And Haskins,
I don't like Jim Harbaugh at all. I think he's a weasel.
Well, he finally got the monkey off his back. He finally beat Ohio State, finally won a Big Ten championship. That's they paid him all this money for, and he finally broke through. So,
I don't like him because of what he did at Stanford. I just think that he's a dishonest weasel. I don't find him to be a very trustworthy individual. He has no integrity as a man. He shook a lot of parents' hands and told them that he'd take care of their kids at Stanford, and then left for the NFL. After people asked him, like, "Are you going to leave for the NFL?" And he was like, "No, I'll trust me. I'll take care of your kid." And he dipped before the season even started. So,
but I mean,
very untrustworthy and scumbag. But I hate Ohio State. So,
but how often do people do that though? It happens all the time. It happens,
and I don't have respect for those people either.
Brian Kelly just did it. Yeah,
I don't have respect for him either.
So, well, at least you're across the board.
I'm consistent about it. I'm consistent.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't have a problem with somebody leaving for a better job. But if it's talked about and somebody asks you flat out, like, "Are you going to leave to go to that better job and leave me in the dust?" and you flat out say no and then do it, you're a scumbag. You have no honor. You have no integrity. Fuck Jim Harbaugh, truthfully.
Yeah.
But fuck Ohio State more. They have a stupid mascot. I think I said this the other day.
Hurtful.
Dumbest mascot in sports.
You're hurting me. The Buckeye? How dare you?
It's a fucking nut. It's a nut. You're a fucking nut.
Time to get this nut.
It's an oversized chestnut. Are you kidding me?
Hey,
who the fuck names their team like the Virginia Tech Hokies? A Hokie is a fake fucking thing. It's not a real thing. And even I would take that over a fucking nut.
Wait, that's what she said.
Oh,
that's what she said.
Come on, you're part of the drop.
I was hyped up about fucking Ohio State and their fucking whack ass name.
You're like very angry over nonsense.
A giant nut, and not once did you say that's what she said. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Sorry.
Who's this man?
I'm slipping.
Well, my predictions could be Bama. My prediction could be Bama UGA rematch in the finals. I'm going to take Georgia to actually win it. This game doesn't happen for like a lot of the month because it's just how college football is. But I'm gonna say Georgia. Finally gets that elusive championship, defeat Bama. But I'm probably gonna be wrong because I know Bama just always comes through. And they somehow Nick Saban always gets his players to play and win a championship. So
I think UGA loses to Michigan.
Really?
And I think Michigan wins the national championship and Aiden Hutchinson takes his fucking stock and the cream rises to the top. I think that's what's going to happen. And then he's going to get drafted by the Jets and be a bust.
I mean, yeah, what else is new? People get drafted by the Jets.
Yeah. Zach Wilson.
No, I'm sorry. I think at this point the Giants take the cake with taking fucking Saquon Barkley where they took him.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And Daniel Jones.
He is like a bust. Daniel Jones isn't a bust because he never had the expectation of being that great. When the Giants picked him, they weren't like, "Oh, this is a great pick." Everyone who watched him,
everybody in the whole world was like, "What did you just do?"
Exactly. Everyone was like, "This is a terrible pick." No one was taking him where he was. They should have took Josh Allen, the linebacker, because they need a good defensive player, and he would have been great for the Giants.
I feel like they needed a linebacker for like 20 years.
They needed a linebacker since LT retired.
I was.
Maybe Carl Banks. I don't know who retired first, but whoever retired last between Carl Banks and LT, who are like that's the longest that they've had since needing a linebacker. Even the linebackers when they won Super Bowls, like, do you remember them? Like, you guys probably don't. Antonio Pierce, Kiwanuka. Remember Kiwanuka?
Matthias Kiwanuka. The
reason why I remember him is because his name is so awesome.
Of Liberia. He went to Boston. Yeah. No, I know him because he went to Boston College. I'm a Florida State fan.
Oh, right. So yeah, I mean that's. All right, let's get into week 13. Oh, should we do picks first? Maybe we'll do picks first.
Do picks first.
All right. I'm on the bottom of the barrel, so I'll go first.
NFL picks.
Hold on. We got to set it up. TJ, you got to let the people know who's at the top and who's at the bottom.
Pajamas.
All right. So in dead last place is Nick, 31 and 35. And then me and Rook tied again 2 weeks in a row, 33, 32, and 1 push.
Yes. That keeps us below 500. I mean,
above 500. Above 500.
Yeah, that's right. We all suck. So we might as well all be booed.
No, just you two. Fuck you two. But being on the bottom, I'll go first.
That's what she said.
I'm taking Denver -10. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, fucking spread this week, as in what seems like all weeks with the NFL this year, awful. Just the most gigantic spreads you could find in a season. Like, it's absolutely crazy. There's multiple double-digit spreads. Crazy. But anyway, taking Denver -10, the Bengals +1.5, the Packers -11.5, the Cards -2, the Cowboys -4, and I'm taking the under on Raiders Chiefs 47.5.
Not bad, not bad. All right, I'll drop mine.
It's those big ones. Those big ones are tough. Like the large spreads are a push.
Yeah, listen, absolutely. But it's supposed to be tough at this point in the year. So I'm gonna try to hope that Washington keeps rolling, keeps the win train going. I'm gonna go Washington +4, the Bucks -3. I think the Bills have shit the bed completely in the past couple weeks. So I want to see Tom Brady pick them apart. The Saints -5.5. The Panthers -2.5, Chargers -9.5, and then I'm going to take the Lions Broncos under 42.5.
And I do have my picks, but I gave them to TJ and I didn't write them down.
I got you, Rook.
So why don't you just repeat?
Yeah,
those?
Rook's taking the Jets, the Giants. No, I'm sorry.
I actually took it. Oh, I bet against the Jets. I took -5.5 Saints.
Yeah, so Rook's going -5.5 Saints, the Jags +8.5.
Wait, hold on. He bet against the Giants?
No, I didn't pick. I didn't pick that
No.
game this week.
Oh, okay.
I did that last week, and it worked. So
Yeah, you bet against the Giants. You know why, right?
Because they suck. No, because they suck.
I bet against the Giants.
Easy pick. Who are they playing this week?
You're a
They're playing
Jets
the
fan. You
Chargers.
Chargers.
Chargers. How much is the spread though? It's big though. It's
9.5.
Jake Fromm's supposed to start, so I mean, it's actually not that terrible a pick.
Yeah, I'm sick of hearing on the fan and shit. Jake Fromm, State Farm. It's like, okay, it's played out. Like, stop, please.
So stupid.
Between that and JB Smoove, this is my garden. Welcome home. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Spike Lee should spit in your face.
What's the next?
All right, so we got Rook with the Saints -5.5, Jags +8.5, Washington +4, the Detroit Lions +10, Cincinnati Bengals +1.5, and Rook is taking the under on the Bills-Bucks game at 53.5.
It's a large. It's a large.
It's a big number. That is a big number, and I actually like that a lot.
What are you taking on that?
What'd you say?
Under 53.5.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, I mean the Bills' offense is sputtering. They don't even have a running back. They have like 3 running backs, and they all stink.
You talking about they have one of the best running backs in the league. His name's Josh Allen.
Yeah, he's a quarterback. He's like Lamar Jackson. They just run a lot.
The league is catching up to him, aren't they?
Yeah, and speaking of which, now we should go into the Week 13 recap.
Hold on, T, you did your picks?
I did. I went first.
I went last. Yeah, that's why. So
I know you went first next. Sorry.
Yeah, we want go into Week 13, then recap. Talk about that Monday Night Football game between the Bills and the Pats. The Bills put up 10 points. They could not stop the run against the Patriots. The Patriots played old school, hard-nosed Army Navy football game.
But dude, how bad was that game?
Army throws the ball more than 3 times a game.
Dude, but that's not the game we wanted to see. That win was brutal. Okay, and I understand you play football in the elements, but that win was so brutal that game was not the game that it was built up to be. That should have been a high-powered, lot of point game.
I agree.
And you didn't get it. It was old school. They should have taken off their helmets and put on leather fucking helmets and called it a day. That's it, dude. It was played out.
I hate
it.
So my question is, does that game show the lack of necessity at the quarterback position for the Patriots?
No, not at all.
Well, I mean, they threw it 3 times. It's the least amount of passes in like the modern era ever.
No,
but
the
last 50 years.
Yeah,
so,
because they went up early.
Or could anybody do it?
They went up early, and there was no reason other than to run the ball and kill the clock because you can't go in the air.
I'm not disagreeing. Mac Jones only throws 5-yard passes anyway. What difference does it make?
Listen, we get it. You hate Mac Jones, but I think what it solidifies is honestly, other than for the nostalgia of Lambeau Field, football should be played in a fucking dome. Like, nobody wants to see these games. Nobody wants to see a shit show in the wind. It kills it. It's not fun at all.
Fun watching that. Not at all.
Especially when this asshole took the over on that game.
You took the over?
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to be a fucking 45-mile-an-hour windstorm all game. I saw the
wind, and I was like, I have to bet the under in this game.
Dude, no, I took the over when we made our picks on Wednesday.
Oh, right. You did.
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to be a shit show of a weather situation.
That's because we picked so early.
Right, but that's what I mean. Like, dude, you didn't get the game that you were supposed to get. No. You didn't get the bill that you were supposed to get. That's like showing up to see fucking Wicked with Kristen Chenoweth and the chick from Frozen, and instead they bring out the homeless guy that DeBasio just let out of jail.
The guy who was masturbating in front of my job.
Yeah, and then set the Christmas tree on fire.
I'm sorry.
That's who you got in the lead role. What?
I don't know what the fuck you just said to me.
It's like going to see Wicked with Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel.
Yeah.
And then getting like, some scrub.
Listen, number one, don't talk shit about Wicked. That was like one of the greatest plays I've ever seen in my life. Yes, I go to plays.
Yeah, don't talk shit about Frozen either. Frozen's awesome.
Yeah. When you have a kid, you'll understand.
Yeah, girl dad.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not a girl dad. He's a boy dad. Why is he going to watch fucking Wicked and Frozen?
I watch Frozen because my son, I ask him, like, hey, buddy, what do you think? Blonde or redhead? Redhead gets a little crazy. The blonde knows a little more, Then my wife slaps me.
Come on. I've been to Wicked too. My wife.
Wicked's great.
I loved it. It was amazing. I've seen Rent, hated it. I seen Rocket.
I actually like Rent.
Awesome.
I actually like Rent, but I actually like the South Park take of Rent where they just sing "We all have AIDS" because essentially that's the
that's not Rent.
That's the premise of the whole fucking thing.
But Rocket Ages is good too. That's like all 80s rock music. It's awesome.
Jersey Boys is great.
Jersey Boys is good. I haven't seen that live. Amazing. I do want to see that one live.
We're moving on from
no. You know what was great? Hold on, time out. You know what was great? Young Frankenstein was a great play. Young Frankenstein was fucking epic.
That's funny.
The dude that gets thrown out of a plane in Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay?
Yeah.
That dude, he played Victor Frankenstein. He was fucking awesome. Dude, it was awesome.
Roy.
I think when we're talking about NFL Week 13 and we went to Broadway plays.
Yeah, he brought up fucking Wicked.
How did we get there?
Who gives a shit? You know how we got there? We went from...
It's like going to watch Wicked.
Yo, dude, that's the problem. We went from a shit show to a shit show topic. Let's do it.
That's true. All right.
You know what? I will give him this. They played the Pats, and he brought up Wicked. I'll just give him that one because
that's true.
It was not Wicked awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
Wicked awesome. Drinking Boston Lager.
But back to
week 13. Moving on. Week 13.
Zach Wilson played the Eagles. And the return of Minshew Mania.
That's smoke.
Minshew Mania, baby.
So Uncle Rico threw for like 8,000 yards on a bunch of scrubs in the Jets secondary and no pass rush. Obviously, now coming up for this upcoming week, there's a bit of a dilemma.
Wait.
In the Eagles' house.
Yes, there is. And I want to go back to this because, first of all, Gardner Minshew shows up in that aviator bomber jacket. It looked incredible. The mustache.
Maverick,
awesome.
bro.
Looked like Maverick. Comes strutting in, goes right into MetLife Stadium, which is probably why he was wearing it.
He looked nothing like Maverick. They wore similar jackets. He looked nothing like Maverick.
I know.
He looks like Uncle Rico or Tiger King. He looks nothing like Tom Cruise.
Nick, once again, interrupting.
Stop saying crazy shit, all right?
Listen, all I know is he fucking crashed that jet on the Jets.
Yeah. I would say
in typical Maverick blow-up style.
Did you see this scene afterwards, though? He went to see his father. So his father, this is a fun fact I know from when he was in the Jags. His father comes to every game, like the London game, away games, all the Jags games, all the Eagles games, obviously he's playing in. So when he was at MetLife, his father comes over to see him, and he like sees his father, and he just fucking hits him, Mike. He was so fired up after that win, and his dad and him were just doing like a shoving match. Huge hug. I mean, how can you not like Gardner Minshew? Gardner Minshew is a guy.
I don't like Gardner Minshew. Congratulations.
Gardner Minshew is a guy where, like, I wish he was my franchise quarterback because he is so much better.
He was your franchise quarterback, and he sucked there too.
No, that's because the team was terrible. I'm talking about being on the New York Giants. If you put Gardner Minshew in the New York Giants,
they would never allow that mustache on their team.
Would be amazing.
I just want to point out 9 times out of 10, if somebody has a pedophile mustache, it's because they're a pedophile.
It's not a pedophile mustache. It's a sweet 80s mustache, just like Tom Selleck had. All right?
Whoa!
Mr. Baseball?
Whoa!
You boo because you said one with a mustache is a pedophile. Tom Selleck had a sweet-ass mustache.
No, he has a pedophile mustache. Tom Selleck has the most amazing and glorious mustache in the world, second only to Theodore Roosevelt.
He has a handlebar. So the guys from what is that show you always watch with the biker? They build motorcycles. What's that show called? You a junior?
Oh, Orange County Choppers.
Yeah, he has a mustache like a handlebar too. Like
he's
those
a
guys.
biker, all right. He's not wearing fucking acid wash jean shorts. Fucking Tiger King has a fucking handlebar mustache too.
You're a hater. That's all I have to say about Gardner Minshew.
He's a fucking.
I'm glad he's back. I hope he wins the job over Jalen Hurts. He deserves to play.
If I can weigh in, I think that Gardner Minshew, with that appearance, and he has to follow it up, obviously, but I think with that appearance, just proved that he could start on about 15 teams in the NFL right now.
100%. I agree.
Okay,
100%.
I'll buy that. He needs to get rid of that mustache and that fucking mullet, though.
No,
absolutely not.
Mullet's the best part. He did cut it a little bit. It's not as glorious as it was before.
Dude, listen, as a hockey fan, how could you say that? There is nothing like glorious flow coming out of the back of a helmet,
nice lettuce
and a ridiculous mustache.
Hockey players don't have teeth either. I wouldn't recommend that for the average person.
I actually tried growing a mullet during the pandemic. I actually had a pretty good one going, and then my wife made me cut it because
thank God. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you. Somebody in that house has class. Fucking moves to Jersey. He becomes whiskey.
I actually, you know what? I goofed around with a haircut too during the pandemic, and I went with the Pete Rose bowl cut, and they kept putting me on a short bus outside my house. I didn't know what was going on.
But yeah, like I said, there's a bit of a quarterback dilemma in Philadelphia, and I guess we'll see what happens this week coming up. If Jalen Hurts is healthy enough to play, whether or not he is, I honestly think they'll say he's not healthy enough to play. And
I think either way, you give Gardner Minshew the ball.
Yeah, and the flip of it, you guys have the Jets. So what do you guys think about the Jets?
They suck.
I saw good progress from Zach Wilson. I mean,
it's too little, too late. Too little, too late.
He's a rookie, though. He's learning. He's got to play.
I understand he's a rookie, and I understand he's learning. I understand he was hurt, but the throws that he misses on are way behind the target. Okay, he moves like shit when he's throwing on the move. He's absolutely awful. But even when he stands in the pocket, his throws are just erratic. You cannot say that that's a learning curve because he had to make throws in college. And if those were his throws in college, I don't understand how he got picked in the first round.
So I honestly would love your take on who he should be playing like as a rookie.
I'm not saying, dude, you can't compare one rookie to another.
Like him,
you can't compare one rookie to another. I understand that, but you want people
what's your barometer is my question.
My barometer is you need to be able to show that you have the ability to play in the NFL, and right now,
and he did that.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, at least twice this year. This year, he was the rookie of the fucking week twice. So he did it at least twice this year.
That's great. Rookie of the year twice because he's a high-profile pick in the draft, and they want to fucking put him up front and center because guess what? For the Jets, especially being
hasn't got it.
Do you think Mac Jones gives a fuck because he's winning?
Trevor Lawrence hasn't gotten it.
He doesn't give a fuck. He's winning.
Trevor Lawrence hasn't gotten it.
Dude, I would rather everybody and their mother, I would rather ESPN, the Fan, everybody be shitting on Zach Wilson and we'd be sitting at the top of the AFC fucking East like, yeah, good, he sucks, sure. Nobody talk about him. We're still fucking winning. The kid cannot compete at this level. He's shown that he can't compete at this level, okay? You can only blame the team so much. His throws are shit. They really are.
All right, if this kid ends up being a Pro Bowler, I don't ever want to hear you say anything good about him ever again because you just said in his rookie season, fucking 8 games into the season, that he can't play at this level. Right now, you can't fucking tell me I can't say, dude, he wouldn't be in the NFL if he couldn't play at this level. All right, you get this. Good day. I can't believe you just said that. It was the stupidest thing I've heard you say in weeks. All right,
I say he can never play at this level.
I never heard.
I didn't say he could never play at this level, but he is ill prepared right now. And do the Jets, can the fucking Jets ever in the history of the Jets fucking groom a quarterback? Can they?
We'll find out. It's his first year.
No, they can't. They fucking can't. They can't. Cut the shit. They can't. Name one fucking quarterback that they groomed. Name one quarterback that they groomed.
Joe fucking Namath. He's in the Hall of Fame.
They didn't groom him.
Chad Pennington. What do you mean they didn't groom him? He came in as a rookie. They drafted him out of Alabama, and he won a fucking Super Bowl. He's in the Hall of Fame. They didn't groom him. Who did?
That's not grooming him. He's raw talent. Grooming somebody is Aaron Rodgers sitting the bench behind fucking what's his face, who's showing his dick to fucking reporters and shit.
First of all, Brett Favre is not what's
Brett Favre.
Thank you. Remember,
Aaron Rodgers
was it.
Aaron Rodgers sitting on the bench and that entire time working on his game. Dude, Aaron Rodgers came in, right? The season that he started, and it's no looking back, and he was full fucking steam. NFL QB, top 10, fucking week 1. Okay? Walked into the league after sitting behind Brett Favre. What?
After sitting the bench watching a Hall of Fame quarterback for how long?
That's right. It's called grooming. Grooming isn't bringing somebody in their rookie year and starting them.
In the NFL anymore, TJ. It's 2021. Wake up. Name me the last guy that sat the bench for a season.
This guy wants me. No, time out. He wants me to wake up. Watch a fucking game. Do you think Zach Wilson is fucking where in the quarterback rankings? He's dead fucking last. He's dead last. He got abused.
TJ, nobody's going to allow anybody to sit the bench unless they're injured.
We were supposed to talk about how Zach Wilson won the offensive week player.
And he sucks. He shouldn't have fucking won shit.
He shouldn't have won. I was making an argument, and that's really where we were going with this. But like, this just went way
because Nick has to defend everybody.
Ideologies about how a rookie should play football.
You're right.
MVP, I guess. I don't know.
You're right. You're right. A rookie should have fucking 30 interceptions and 5 touchdowns. Yeah, good call.
He doesn't. But Trevor Lawrence does, and nobody says a fucking word about it.
I don't give a fuck about Trevor Lawrence. Who gives a fuck about Jacksonville or Florida, for that matter?
Actually, I have a story about Jacksonville I wanted to.
Who gives a fuck? No one cares.
I will say this now. So I wanted to make my quick point about Jacksonville, which is part of the week 13 was in week 13. James Robinson fumbled very early in the game, and Urban Meyer basically just sat him, played Carlos Hyde over him. So I was controversy out of it because towards the end of the game, the Jags were already down by a lot. He decided in the last 2 minutes of the game, he's going to play James Robinson, who is already dealing with lingering injuries from earlier in the season. And then this week, everybody's coming out. Trevor Lawrence saying that James Robinson has to be in there to play. Urban Meyer even agreed that what he did was silly and stupid to put an injured player in the final 2 minutes of a game of a blowout just to get his reps in, and God forbid possibly injured him further. So I guess for me, I think Urban Meyer, that's just the final nail in this coffin. I don't think this guy deserves to be an NFL. I don't think he needs to be NFL head coach. I don't think he needs to be anywhere near an NFL team. He needs to be fired. Jacksonville probably be better off in the long run. Their offense is terrible. They're probably just as bad as the Giants. And this is a guy who's an offensive guru in Urban Meyer. So,
do you think he leaves to go to take an NCAA job?
I don't. A lot of them are gone already. The big ones are gone. LSU's gone. USC's gone. Notre Dame's the only one that's open still, but they have that defensive coordinator that stepped up. The players like him. So why would you go with somebody else?
I think Miami is now vacant.
No, Miami. What's his name went there from Oregon? Mario Cristobal. Okay. He went there. He left Oregon. So Oregon's next one is open, but would he go?
I would go to Oregon over Notre Dame.
Well, maybe I guess there are still opens for him, but I just don't see what this guy near NFL roster again. They're doing such stupid shit this year and possibly injuring a player who's probably one of their best players there. And Trevor Lawrence is right. He needs to have the ball to be successful for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and for a rookie is to have that top running back playing in the game and get his reps in.
I've seen conversations saying that Urban Meyer is going to be with Jacksonville for the next 3 to 4 years.
I don't see how they'll do it. But
it's easier when nobody gives a fuck about you.
The only way is Shad Khan. Shad Khan would be the one who's like, I like Urban Meyer, I'm going to keep him around. But it would be stupid for them to keep that man around because it's going to ruin Trevor Lawrence's career, and it's going to waste the next
smart guy that makes that decision. Is my question.
I don't know. I guess the GM.
Well, is he smart enough to make that decision? Is the question.
I would hope so. I think he's smarter than the owner.
Did he sign Urban or did Shad sign Urban?
I would think it's probably Shad.
Because if he signed Urban, that's indicative of him doing his job, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I get
it.
If he
failed to select the right coach after one season, he should be fired too. So can he fire Urban if he hired him?
I know what you mean. Yeah, I was the one who hired him, and then it's like, well, I'm going to fire him after a year. I kind of fucked up, and then it's like, well, you should be fired. Yeah,
exactly. So we'll see how the Urban Meyer situation changes or gets better or worse.
If it doesn't get better, it's Trevor Lawrence. I'd call him a bust because it wouldn't be his fault.
No, but but here's the question:
his first 4 years of his career would be wasted.
So my question is how come Trevor Lawrence wouldn't be a bust, but Zach Wilson is?
I never called Zach Wilson a bust.
No, I'm just saying that's the narrative across the league generally.
Well, that's because it's the New York Jets. We say it all the time. It's a New York bias. There's a New York bias in every single sport. If you're in New York, there's a bias against you. Media just does not appreciate New York teams. New York Yankees, MVPs, they've lost MVPs. They lost Rookie of the Years. I mean, the New York Rangers too. Like the New York Rangers.
I'm shocked Trouba didn't get suspended for his hits that were legal.
I mean, yeah, I'm surprised that. But there's plays that the Rangers don't get calls, even in their own building. So I mean,
the Jets never get protected by the refs.
Was that?
The Jets don't get protected by the refs at all.
No, absolutely not. I mean,
there's continuous violence against the Jets. I don't know what you're talking about.
Look at Zach Wilson now. That this week. Those bad hits, yeah.
We saw that this week where Robert Saleh's losing his mind on the sideline. Right, and it was the most fire I'd seen from him all season. And I heard somebody say earlier, like, oh, he's got a lot of fire. I'm like, where? I haven't seen it. This week I saw it. I thought he was gonna hit somebody. I would have had
those were fucking awful calls. That officiating was ridiculous.
And honestly, Woody Johnson, Woody's been getting on my good side because he's interacting with fans. I appreciate that kind of stuff, interacting with fans on Twitter and shit like that.
Yeah.
If I was Woody Johnson, I would have turned to Robert after the game and go into the fucking press conference and call out the refs. I'll pay the fines. Don't worry about it. So that's what I would have done. I would have done what James Dolan did when Panarin got fucking hit.
Yeah.
Fuck this league. You're all pieces of shit, and I'm holding you accountable publicly.
Yeah.
Let everybody hate me. I don't give a fuck.
That's like the only time I ever liked James Dolan was when he did that.
Yeah. That was the only time anybody's like anybody named Dolan.
Yeah. So lastly,
obviously, his cousin owns the Guardians.
Do they? Does he?
Yeah. That's his nephew or something like that. His cousin or his nephew owns the Guardians. Yeah.
Well, lastly, here we have obviously we're to talk briefly the New York Giants, but I mean, they're just not good. Joe Judge, I mean, it's annoying. His press conferences get annoying. They're frustrating. The New York Giants played like shit this week. They lost to Miami Dolphins. Wasn't even close. Their offense was putrid. Freddie Kitchens did drop a couple good plays that should have worked if people actually knew how to play. But Mike Glennon's just not a good quarterback. He's just a veteran journeyman. That's what he's going to be, a backup. And
tall.
What's that?
He's tall.
He's tall. He's got a big neck. It's like a giraffe. And they just they couldn't execute. And then Joe Judge goes to the podium and goes, I'm pretty pleased with what I saw today on the field. You're pleased by what you saw on the field. New York Giants got embarrassed. They get embarrassed every single week in, week out. And Joe Judge is going to tell me that he's pleased with what he sees. As fans, I'm now pissed at Joe Judge. You cannot back this guy up anymore.
Because he's trying to mind fuck the Maras. He's trying to talk his way out of getting fired. It's just dumb. You can't make up fucking things. They are atrocious. Okay. The taking Saquon Barkley where they took him was atrocious. Okay. And this is what pisses me off about Giant fans, because every single Giant fan bitching and moaning about the roster right now was 100% in support of saying Saquon Barkley is going to be the next fucking greatest running back in the NFL.
I listen. I thought Saquon was going to be a really good running back, but the problem
you don't take a running back there ever.
No, ever. I agree, but he was a very good running back out of college. I also want to say, besides that though, but if you're going to draft a running back like that, you have to know your offensive line has to be just as good as that running back. And Dave Gettleman left that offensive line the way it is. He didn't really improve it. They gave a bunch of money to Nate Solder when the Patriots cut him and didn't want to re-sign him for anything further. Like, once you see the Patriots do that, Bill Belichick has a great eye test when it comes to players. He knows when to cut them. Granted, obviously with Brady and Gronk still winning, Yeah, he wasn't great with those two players, but with Nate Solder, he cut him, and he has not been anything great. They drafted Will Hernandez. Horrible. Every draft pick that Dave Gettleman has made has not. Eric Flowers was gone after the first year.
No, I'm just saying is they're not good with drafting offensive linemen.
They're not good with drafting, period.
No, Flowers was 2 years with them.
No, he was before Gettleman.
His second year was terrible. His second year was terrible, though. But everybody
every year was terrible
that they've drafted has not. They spent a first-round pick on Kadarius Toney. I haven't seen Kadarius Toney play in the last couple of weeks. He didn't even start the first 3 weeks.
I've seen him defend fucking Henry Ruggs.
Yeah, that's about it. It's been brutal as a Giants fan watching Dave Gettleman draft. The smartest thing he ever did was trade back after the Eagles traded to move up. And Devontae Smith.
I said that. I was like, when they got I was like, he needs to trade back. Mm-hmm. And the fucking Bears, in their infinite wisdom, decided to do that trade, and that was a failure on their part. But
I mean, it's gonna be fun come draft night because we enjoy draft night. That's actually the reason why we started the podcast, because of draft night. And we're gonna have to do a live show because we're gonna have 4 picks in the top 10 between 2 for the Jets, 2 for the Giants, and it's gonna be a fun night.
So I have a feeling that TJ and I are gonna be like, motherfucker, like what the.
That's how we always are, though.
Yeah, I mean,
dude, listen. Don't get me wrong. I was excited about Zach Wilson. I was excited about him, and I'm not sitting here saying that he's not going to develop and not be somebody. But at the same time, I can't watch him play and act like this week because the first half he had a good first half, right? I can't sit there and watch it and say he's developing when he took 20 steps backwards before that.
They had 5 drops, and he only had the ball for 30 seconds in the third quarter.
I understand, but they cannot move the ball. And the way he throws the ball and how far, dude, if you listen to Iron Eagle, I listened to a little bit of the game in the car because I was out and about doing some shit. Okay, Iron Eagle is the biggest homer for the Jets, and Iron Eagle was tearing him a new one, saying, how do you miss somebody by fucking 10 yards behind them? How do you not know how to lead somebody that's cutting across the field on a straight line? And it's shit like that pisses me off because that's baby bullshit. That's stuff you learn in Pee Wee football. To lead somebody cutting across the field, to throw behind somebody by 10 yards is just embarrassing. What are you looking at?
But here's my question. Are you watching everybody else in the league? Or are you only watching this one kid and tearing them apart, saying that like Tom Brady would have made that pass?
I'm not saying that, but you would have made that fucking pass, bro. You would have made that pass.
I wouldn't have because I can't throw 10 yards. My arm is shot. I'm fucking Chad Pennington over here.
Dude, and not for nothing, and you refuse to accept it. Chad Pennington's the best quarterback we had in the past 20 fucking years.
But he couldn't get back to Zach Wilson again. On Barkley of quarterbacks for the Jets.
How did we get back to this? Come on, guys.
But I just want to point out, this is my biggest problem with sports and younger athletes today. The fucking Steelers are losing 29-7. They get a pick. And they're sitting there fucking posing, doing team fucking celebrations. Bro, you're losing 29-7 right now. The fuck is there to celebrate about? You have less than a minute left in the third quarter. You're down by 22 points. What are you celebrating?
The NFL is all about the individual. That's it. Yeah. That's it, dude. People get up and make a fucking tackle and do a pose after the fucking running back just took 15 yards from you. It's a first down. Wow, you made a tackle. Good for you, you asshole.
They literally, the team collectively got together and did a pose in the end zone for getting a pick. They're losing by 22 points. The Steelers are fucking losers. That's a joke. You're embarrassing yourselves.
Well, let's throw this out there. Who do you think should have fucking not been back this year? Who's more of a disappointment and why they came back? Brett Gardner or Big Ben Roethlisberger?
God, you guys should both drink. Bringing up Brett Gardner.
I'm fucking drinking anyway. I'm a Jet fan. Fuck you. I drink.
Take a shot.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Neither one of them should have been back. They're both past their prime. And why the Steelers thought bringing back Ben Roethlisberger was a good idea is fucking beyond stupid.
Agreed.
Hey guys, listen to us. We're the Brett Gardner hated podcast.
Last thing about football. So Jamal Adams is out for the season, and Joe Douglas looks like a genius more and more every week.
Absolutely.
2 fucking first-round picks for one of the worst safeties in football. He was only ever valuable because he could get sacks, but getting sacks from the safety position is not really what you need from a safety, and he has 0 sacks this year. and is ranked in the bottom 5 for coverage of as a safety. But he is the highest paid safety in the NFL. So now he's injured. He's out for the season.
Fleeced.
Yeah, absolutely fleeced. You know what I felt like? It feels like it. I want David goddamn Putney because I fucking feel like it. It felt like Kevin Costner in fucking draft day when he just took back his first round picks and he got 2 first rounders for fucking 3 second rounders. The man got two first rounders for 3 second rounders is what it came down to. Ultimately, at the end of it. And a kick returner. He got a kick returner, 2 first round picks for 3 second rounders.
He got Arian Foster.
Yes, he did. And R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman.
Oh yeah, he's in that movie. Yeah,
he's Vontae Mack.
Yeah, he's Vontae.
That's Joe Douglas right now. He called up the Seahawks and said, "I want 2 first rounders and David goddamn Putney because I fucking feel like it, you pancake eating motherfuckers." And he actually got it. And I hope Jamal Adams isn't depressed now. I know he was so depressed with the Jets. I hope he's not depressed now. On a
I'm
team
sure he'll be all right. He got paid.
And yeah, because money solves everything.
It does.
But,
so
I
looking
hope
ahead,
that contract was incentive laden.
looking ahead to week 14. So, I mean, I don't know. We looking before because we always did our picks. We weren't really seeing too many matchups that were like sexy or anything like that. Obviously,
the Raiders versus the Chiefs.
That's a good one, but that's if the Raiders actually show up and play well. A big one regarding the NFC East would be the Cowboys, the Washington football team. Washington football team actually won 4 straight. So they actually have an opportunity, and the Cowboys are actually not playing as well as they did in the beginning. So they actually have an opportunity to actually overtake the Cowboys eventually throughout the rest of the year. So that's a big game there. I'm looking at the count at the
Ravens-Browns.
Ravens-Browns it looks like a good one. The Bills-Bucks, if the Bills can play like they used to be, like early in the
Niners and Bengals.
Niners and Bengals,
dude. But that's another one that the 49ers decide when they want to show up. They're so
do the
hot
Bengals.
And cold, right? And that's the other thing. So it's almost like who's going to actually get a little rest and decide they want to win a fucking game.
And then the Cards and the Rams.
I like Joe
Cards and the
Burrow.
Rams is going to be a good game. That's going to be a great game. I didn't bet that because I didn't want to be angry about it because I actually like the Cards in that game. But I'm looking forward to just enjoying that game and not having a pajama bet riding on it.
Yeah, that's a good game though. I'm like Monday Night Football. That's a good Monday Night Football game.
Absolutely,
Rams, Cards,
absolutely.
That should be a lot of points.
I see Stafford shit in the bed.
No, I agree, but that's what we all expect.
He didn't play that bad last time they played against each other, but
he didn't play the way he needs to.
No, he didn't. He did not. And it's the bad luck for me because I have Cooper Kupp and Stafford in my fantasy league, and I need a win to get into the playoffs. So, Sunday night football.
In that fantasy league, it sounds like you're going to be
pajamas.
Yeah, I would be in pajamas, definitely. My only saving grace is that I have the most points in the league. So if I lose and someone else has the same record as me, I'll get in because I'll have the tiebreaker, which would be awesome. But the Bears, Packers, I mean, that's like a good game when like Jay Cutler was on the Bears. And it was like Jay Cutler versus Rodgers.
I hate Jay Cutler, and it's all because of what Nick told me.
Oh, I got a story about Jay Cutler.
Do you? Should we share? We run a little long. We have to skip.
We're running a little long. I'll save it for next week. We'll talk about it next week.
All right. So
all you need to know is Jay Cutler apparently is a big douchebag.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't based on something that he did. It was something that he didn't do, basically.
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised by that, if I'm being honest. But I know we were talking about a little bit about baseball. We're running a little long. I have my legal corner that we were going to do. So I don't know. What do you guys want to do? You want to jump ahead to?
Let's go straight to legal corner. Baseball is what it is. It's a lockout. Who gives a fuck?
I did my take and my beer about baseball. Other than I just wanted to mention one thing. Rule 5 was yesterday. Yeah. And a lot of people just dismiss the Rule 5, right? They think, oh, well, those guys aren't in the majors for a good reason. It is what it is. And I just wanted to point out 2 things. One, the Yankees took Manny Ramirez. No, not that Manny Ramirez. Manny Ramirez, the pitcher from the Houston Astros. And then the Red Sox took a pitcher from the Yankees. And I'm sure that last name of Keller, I can't remember his first name right now. I'm sure that won't bite us in the ass down the road. But for those who don't believe that the Rule 5 is anything important, I just want to name some names that are former Rule 5 draftees. All right. Christy Mathewson, who is one of the original 5 inductees into the Baseball Hall of Fame, was a Rule 5 draftee. Wow, Hack Wilson, who's in the Hall of Fame. Roberto Clemente was actually a member of the Brooklyn Dodgers and was drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates in the Rule 5 in the 1954 Rule 5 draft. The Dodgers were trying to hide him in the minors, and they wouldn't play him because they didn't think they could have two black guys on the team. Jackie Robinson, obviously, and Roberto Clemente. He's like, the thought process was, we can't have two black guys, one of whom doesn't speak English. So they were trying to hide him on the Montreal team, the Montreal Monarchs. And Branch Rickey got fired from the Dodgers, went to the Pirates and became their GM and was like, I know a great player we can draft right now that's ready for the pros. And the Dodgers thought they could hide him, and you can't hide him from the guy that signed him.
I actually enjoyed this history. That's actually pretty cool. But can you just explain the Rule Draft 5?
So the Rule 5, right? The Rule 5 draft is, and Counselor, you should love this. Basically, if a player is in the minors for, I want to say, over 6 years, and they're not added to your team's 40-man roster, then they're eligible for the Rule 5 draft. The fuck are you doing?
I'll actually post this because I'm looking at we actually got a voicemail message, but before that, sorry, I'm interrupting the Rule 5 draft, but that's rude of me. Go ahead, Nick. Finish your thought. Fuck.
So Rule 5 is if you're in the league, if you're in the minors for a certain amount of time, I honestly don't know the amount of time. Basically, if you're not added to the 40-man roster on the major league roster within that time frame, you become eligible for the Rule 5 draft so that you can get the opportunity to play on a major league team. That being said, when that team selects you, they have to keep you on the 40-man roster or on the major league club for the entire season, or you immediately get sent back to your previous team, and then the team that selected you owes your old team what's the dollar amount? I want to say it's $100,000. I just want to point out it's been $100,000 since 1960. Which is so weird.
Weird, yeah, because now it doesn't matter.
There's zero inflation. It's been $100,000. So yeah. So basically,
my question, I don't know if you know this, but the Yankees drafted Russell Wilson in Rule 5 draft, and he played spring training. Do you remember that?
I do. But I don't think it was. I don't think it was Rule 5 that they drafted on. They didn't draft on Rule 5.
Okay.
He was just he was outright traded or released.
Okay.
I think he was traded for cash considerations. He was not, because Rule 5, he would have to be on the 40-man roster for the entire year.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was just fucking stupid. But some notable people, other than those three All-Star, Hall of Famers that were selected. Jose Bautista was a Rule 5 selectee. George Bell, Bobby Bonilla, R.A. Dickey, Josh Hamilton was a Rule 5 guy. Odubel Herrera, Jeff Nelson, Darren O'Day, Alexi Ogando, Scott Podsednik, Johan Santana, Joaquim Soria, and Dan Ugla, Fernando Vina, and Shane Victorino were all Rule 5 selections.
Interesting. But, the Rule 5 drafts we go on for such a long time. The comparison of those big names compared to how many people have done Rule 5. How
many people got drafted overall in general and never made it?
Yeah, I know. I get what you mean. I'm just
here's the ones that were drafted but returned or traded before the season started. Frank Catalanato, Ender Inciarte, Javier Lopez, Mike Myers, Ivan Nova, Fernando Vina, John Wetland, Josh Hamilton, and then traded to the drafting team, nullifying the draft. So I drafted him from your team, and then I traded him back to you. R.A. Dickey, Willie Tavares, Mitch Williams. Mitch Williams is a great baseball player, by the way. The original Wild thing, if I remember right. And those are that's not everybody. There were a lot more All-Stars that were in the Rule 5. I just didn't name them because they're not very prominent names. I just named the ones that today people would be like, oh, I remember him. Yeah. Josh Hamilton, former MVP.
So before I was watching you guys talk about the Jets, and that's why I lost track of how you guys were arguing. I saw the text from Nick with this. I could not stop laughing. Let me get rid of this banner because you kind of can't read it. Where is it?
Anytime today.
I thought this was Dale Gribble cosplay. It
Neil
really
Armstrong,
does.
Neil Armstrong lighting a cigar. It looks like Dale Gribble.
It looks just like Dale Gribble. It's actually amazing.
That's a book of matches.
That's amazing.
I'm sitting
what
here
else
going,
is amazing is the fact that Neil Armstrong, okay, first man on the moon, a real American hero. If you try to give him the flat earther shit that the moon landing was a hoax, he will punch you in the face.
I'm pretty sure
punched the dude in the face because he told him he didn't land on the moon.
No, that was Buzz Aldrin.
Was it Buzz Aldrin?
Either way, real American hero.
No, that wasn't. Was it Buzz Aldrin?
It was Buzz Aldrin.
I'm sorry, you're right.
We're going into the legal corner with the.
Hold on, time out. I got to get this in there. I forgot to talk about it during the Rangers talk. I'm sorry, Nick. I mean, Rook, it'll take 2 seconds, but it could also lead into the legal corner. Okay. I hate the fact that this idea was even floated out. I think it's bullshit anyway. I don't think there's any bearing on it. But the fact that they're talking about the Rangers possibly trading Capo Caco for Patrick Kane. Number one, not a chance in hell. Number two, why would we want to take somebody that, dude? Why would we want to take somebody that's on the decline, okay, and has a horrible legal resume as far as getting charged with sexual assault, assaulting a cab driver because he didn't want to pay his fucking fare? Like, no, keep Patrick Kane.
That being said, I wish that Blackhawks fans were as upset about their team sexually abusing people as they were about a legal hit that Jacob Trouba put on their player.
Oh yeah, that's true. I would say if that's the case, then we should probably keep that Caco Tuesday shirt as black and white. All right,
in memoriam.
The legal corner. Let's bring it to us.
Let's go to the legal corner and walk over, step into my office here, legal corner here. So number one, Deshaun Watson is now the prosecutors are now preparing to get him indicted regarding the sexual assault cases. Obviously, we've been having this, I guess, saga of Deshaun Watson, of all these massage therapists coming forward saying that, you know, he touched inappropriately, the happy endings, whatever it is that he did. They had all these civil cases. So obviously, the civil cases, he can't be suspended, but obviously the Texans, they were keeping him on the sidelines because of all these issues, because they don't know what is going on. They're waiting for the investigation to be done. So with the civil case, he cannot be put on what they call as a commissioner exempt list. Once he gets indicted, though, then the Texans could use him, put him onto that commissioner's exempt list. And I think it actually opens up a little bit of salary cap issue with them. So, because he's no longer going to get paid when he's on the commissioner's exempt list, which could help out the Texans.
Let me ask you a question, Rook.
Yeah.
I thought that they did investigate it. They did investigate the allegations, and they came to the conclusion that there was no reason to indict him. There was no reason to bring charges against him. And then after this hit ESPN and all the sports networks, then all these people came forward and started building a civil suit against him. But they all miraculously found the same lawyer to try to get money from this dude, which is I think it's such a, what's the precedent for backtracking now into, all right, we have this many people coming forward because there might be money involved. So everybody's coming out of the woodwork. And if you're in that profession, okay, the profession exists, the massage therapists, wrong way. There we go. Massage therapists that in general, if you're getting it off of Craigslist and there's a happy smiley face and a fucking hand and then the squirting water, you know what you're getting out of it. Do they have legal recourse to then try to get involved in this and say, well, he touched me inappropriately? And can Deshaun Watson be like, yeah, no, I paid you $50 to be a prostitute. That was the deal.
So I think that obviously with the civil is different than criminal. So with them doing the indictment originally at first, if an indictment doesn't land, there's no actual charge against you.
Right.
There's no what people call double jeopardy at that point. Double jeopardy only happens if you are charged with a crime and then you're found innocent. So yeah, there's no double jeopardy there for him.
I thought double jeopardy was like, what is a hand job?
No. You had a laugh.
Right, but they originally investigated all these claims and they found no criminal activity.
So what I'm getting into that is that, yes, all these women have obviously gone to this attorney and said, we want to sue him. We're looking for money, whatever it is. If that's the issue, we don't know. But they're saying that we go to the civil, so civilly we're suing them. The problem is the women were not testifying for them to indict him. So when they were looking into the investigation and then getting into the indictment, they want to have witnesses at the indictment hearing to then say whether or not he actually did sexually harass them, sexual assault them, to put it in front of the grand jury. Unfortunately, they didn't have anyone. At this point now, though, there's one of the women who is willing to go on the stand and testify before a grand jury to say whether or not he did touch her inappropriately. So because of that, now they're able to indict him, gather more evidence, put it before a grand jury. And if I don't know if you guys are familiar with the grand jury, but the famous saying with a grand jury is that a grand jury could indict a ham sandwich, is because the standard which you're held at a grand jury is very low. See, when you're on trial for a criminal case, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. Whereas if you're on for an indictment, it's whether or not is it likely that a crime may have been committed, which puts you at, let's say, reasonable doubt. As I'm trying to hold my hand, reasonable doubt, it's about here. Whether or not a crime may have been committed, it's about here. Right. So the standard is probably a little bit less than 50%. The grand jury is 24 people. I think you just need a slight majority of the 24 grand jury members to get an indictment. So for him, it's not looking great for him, because if it is an indictment,
but that's like, I mean, that's the screw job right there, because a criminal investigation takes place. They found no evidence of it. It's a he said, she said situation. A couple of the women that came forward were he was a repeat client of theirs, and they still went to his house, still went to his apartment, and their claim was, oh, well, we didn't know who he was.
So I think what you're trying to say is whether or not the act is consensual.
Whether or not the act is consensual, the fact that they're obviously, because they dismissed the criminal investigation that they originally held, there was no proof, there was no actual evidence of anything coming forward. Most of these women came forward up to over a year later, when all of a sudden now there may be a civil suit against him. I'm not trying to say that he's innocent in any, we don't know, but it doesn't look good. If you got sexually assaulted and you're not going to the police station right away, then like it doesn't. Is it not fishy?
Wait, hold on. Let's not say right away, because there are many circumstances. But a year later, a year later is a year.
Yeah. So the thing is, we don't know what evidence they have. What if the evidence they got recently was someone who was not from, let's say, a year ago, but maybe a couple months ago?
Right, I understand that, but once it goes to grand jury,
the reason why they're bringing it up is because there's new evidence. There might be a new witness who's willing to testify, who may be more credible than these other women.
I understand that, but like you said, like the grand jury can indict a ham sandwich. Now you're going on a he said, she said with the lack of evidence, and it's more of do you believe them or not?
So here's another thing too about this. So
I just want to real quick. I just want to point out that the ham sandwich he's talking about is the one that killed Janis Joplin. So let's just not let ham sandwiches off like they didn't do nothing to nobody. All right.
All right. So the thing is with that is this fucking guy just ruined my. So the thing is, in Texas, he could actually testify at the grand jury. Typically, like in New York and New Jersey, if you're being indicted, you don't even attend your grand jury hearings. If you're no shit,
because they want to throw everybody in fucking jail, unless you're an actual criminal.
So in Texas, apparently he's going to testify, which is a huge wrinkle on this.
Right now, my question would be: if he gets up there and testifies, would it be held against him criminally if he self-incriminates himself and says, "Yeah, I paid her $100 to jerk me off"? Literally told her, "Yeah, give me the old whack the bag, and here's $100. Have a nice day. Here's a fucking." Sanitary wipe, clean up. Bye-bye.
We're going into specifics here. We don't know whether or not they exist, so I cannot.
But it seems that way, and if you let your imagination run wild, is it out of the realm of possibility that he doesn't stand up there and be like, "Yeah, I told her I'll give you $100 for this, and she gave me this"?
I honestly don't think he'll testify.
Could then she be prosecuted for prostitution?
Ooh, I don't know.
Dun dun. Wait. Fuck! I don't have the fucking.
We'll have to. I don't want to spend too much time. We're really running long here. We're almost at an hour and a half. But yeah, I mean, we'll keep track of it. I'll keep following along with it. The other thing,
it seems like a clusterfuck.
It does. I agree. And I mean, we'll see what happens with the indictment. But
I think the Cleveland Guardians roller hockey team has a better case against the Cleveland Indians than any of these women
settled.
Deshaun Watson.
Well, we'll see what the evidence says. But the other issue was Ruggs. One, he got in trouble for not attending a drug test while he was on house arrest. So not a drug test. I'm sorry, alcohol test. Had to prove whether or not he was staying sober. He didn't attend that, so he got a little admonishment by the judge. And then today was actually a pretty big hearing. Was that the judge was going to decide whether or not the medical records and the testimony of the doctors could be used against Henry Ruggs in the incident of the DUI. So
why wouldn't they be allowed to?
So at this point, what happened was obviously with the accident, he was also injured. So when he immediately went to the hospital from the scene, you weren't able to do field sobriety tests to prove whether or not he was drunk driving.
Right, but field sobriety tests aren't admissible. Field sobriety tests, aren't they just a way of getting you to then be arrested or at least placed under custody, and then you are given a breathalyzer?
It's part of the probable cause.
Right.
Has to raise the probable cause. So they weren't able to do that. So then as obviously when they were at the, in the hospital, they were able to do the breathalyzer. They did a blood test. I think they might have done a urine test as well. So they were saying whether or not the records of his blood, the blood alcohol content, could be used against him.
Why wouldn't they be allowed to, though? That's evidence.
So yeah, accordingly, like obviously the prosecutors typically can request the medical records. So the prosecutors, the defense attorneys today their argument basically was to the judge is that this is private medical information that shouldn't be shared. HIPAA law. It shouldn't be shared. And then not only that, any conversation that you have with doctors is confidentiality. So they're trying to say that if you allow this in,
but doesn't that doesn't exclude the evidence pertaining to a crime?
Well, yeah, let me finish because I'll get to your question. But so basically what they're saying is that, well, if you have one, the records, and two, the testimony of the doctors or other healthcare professionals at the hospital be used against them, that opens up a can of worms of anyone who has their confidentiality will not be protected. They cannot speak freely with their doctor at that point. So go ahead, TJ. What was your question?
Right, but you're essentially holding out evidence because of HIPAA law, and then what's to stop? Let's say I go out, I get wrecked, hammered, I get into a car accident. I'm fine, but I say I need an ambulance because I'm injured, and now all of a sudden I'm protected. Like clearly I'm drunk. I'm not saying that's the case in this situation. We don't know. But that's what's alleged. So if any person accused of drunk driving feels like they may be over the legal limit and intoxicated, they can then say, I need to go to the hospital. I fucked up my neck. I need medical attention. And then you could hide behind HIPAA law. It doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, that evidence should be admissible. It's not like I'm saying I want his STD record. I want his genetic makeup issued. I want everything about him. Give me a 23andMe, Ancestry.com. Fucking run up on the dude. You're literally saying what's your blood alcohol level, and how does that go against your privacy?
So TJ, it's an excellent question because obviously it seems like we're using HIPAA law to protect him from being criminally charged or criminally convicted. So the judge actually ruled the records are allowed to come in.
Okay.
The prosecutor's allowed to release them, which means that we're going to get the records of that release soon. The judge did rule, though, that the testimony of any medical professionals and doctors will not be used against Henry Ruggs because of that, freely allowing someone to then speak with a medical professional under the confidentiality. So that was, I think it's a solid ruling from the judge. I think it's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
you want the facts, not the statements.
So here's the question I have ultimately is, you commit a crime, you need medical care in the interim between your arrest and being officially put into custody. Shouldn't anything that happens to you at the point of your arrest all the way through to your release from jail be under the view of the government? Because you're not paying that medical bill. They're the ones that took you to the hospital.
So it depends on the situation. I mean,
when you're if you're in jail and you go to the doctor, there is no patient confidentiality in jail.
Yeah. So what happens is that it doesn't happen all the time where, there would be some sort of breathalyzer or something done. What they usually do is in New Jersey, you have to actually consent to either urine test or a blood test because it's considered like a private thing. It's protected Basically, you need part of like the Miranda rights. Basically, is that if it's too invasive for them to get your blood test. So if you do consent to the blood test, which typically the police come in, they say to you, "We're going to take a blood test of you, check your blood alcohol." People most likely are kind of intimidated by the cops. They usually give them that consent. So once they have the consent from them, then the cops could then use it against you because you consented to the cops taking it from you. The protection for you is basically, if you get into an accident and you were drunk driving and, kind of just don't say yes. Just don't.
I know that when you're asked to perform a field sobriety test, you can say, no, I'm not submitting to one. Just bring me and breathalyze me. I don't want to, because field sobriety tests essentially are set up for, like, if you have even the slightest problem with coordination, you're going to fail a field sobriety test.
Mm-hmm. So the thing is, too, also, if you don't
just say, no, I'm not doing a breathalyzer, just go to jail, and then 6 hours later, be like, you know what, I'll take that breathalyzer, and you'll come up.
So if you don't consent, obviously, if it's to a high level of which there is a huge issue, the cops will go ahead and get a warrant to then take your blood. Not at that point, but there's a lot of I can't really say exactly. Don't 100% listen to what I'm saying here. This is not legal advice. This is just merely me discussing legal, situations that I've seen before, possibilities. So don't listen to me 100% when you go out there. But
wait, hold on.
If you need an attorney, call 609.
Here it is.
609-795-1391.
Don't listen to him as an umbrella lawyer.
Yes,
he needs to know your position specifically to help you. All right.
Correct.
So don't. I'm not saying don't listen to him if he tells you about you and your situation, because there are different situations for all of us. All right. Correct. And my situation is not TJ's situation, and it's not your situation. So if you need legal advice, you call that guy right there. All right. Call him.
I maintain
795-1391. Yeah.
I maintain that on that nice new fangled fancy soundboard that you have, we need like a Law and Order, like a dun.
I was just thinking that. I think I was gonna do that dun, and I was gonna do lawyered from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, and you could do every situation is always different. There's specific circumstances. Not every case is the same. The good point about the legal system in America as opposed to other countries. Other countries, they have what they call is just obviously it's the same thing. They have statutes, they have laws, but it's set. Like that's it. There's no getting our way around it. American law, which is really good, is that you could twist it, change it, and it's constantly changing, as opposed to just being one strict. That's it.
And also in America, we advertise lawyers on TV to encourage you to sue people. In other countries, that's legal.
Yes.
And where would we be without Solino and Barnes, injury attorneys?
No free plugs.
They're not in business anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter.
I remember Henry Ruggs, even though we said it before, he's allegedly driving under the influence. There's no definite to anything that he did. Well, we don't know the true evidence. We don't know the story, so we have to wait for the full story to come out.
I'll say this.
I don't trust anybody that drinks. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Your boy Kadarius Toney sat there and said, you don't know how he feels. I know he doesn't feel guilty enough to accept the punishment that should befall before him for killing somebody. I know that if I did that, I would just be like, send me to jail forever. Give me the fucking chair. I fucking killed somebody that didn't have it coming. Like, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. But apparently, Henry Ruggs feels good enough. He's like, nah, I don't want to go to jail. Fuck that. I didn't do nothing wrong.
All right, so let's go with we have one voicemail this week, and then we'll wrap the show because we're at an hour and 4. I think this is probably our longest podcast.
All right. Our voicemail is from our friend. We haven't heard from him in a week or two. Tony from New Jersey.
Fucking drunkard.
Hey, Tony from New Jersey. Well, you know that Zach Wilson fucking sucks. This kid Nick doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. The quarterback situation is terrible for the Jets.
I mean, he makes a fair point.
Tony sounds like he's choking on a cannoli.
That was very
Cannoli
quick from Tony.
Is better than our quarterback. End of story.
I love Tony. Tony's our man. Yeah. All right, Nick, wrap us up. Bring us on home, buddy.
So, from all of us here at the Scoreboard Addicts podcast, we appreciate you for being here with us. We'll be on the lookout we're finally going to get to our review of Slapshot. All right. Classic hockey movie starring Paul Newman. We're going to get to that. Be on the lookout for that. Thank you. please also, we've been getting a lot of love from our fellow Belly Up Sports podcasts.
Appreciate
and I
it,
just want
guys.
to specifically show some love off the bat to the Broadway Hat podcast. Listen to them for your Rangers reviews and your Belly Up Sports. I believe that's Maryland's fantasy football show. Is that MDs? What's MDs? MDs Maryland?
Might be initials.
MD's initials. All right, I apologize.
And also the Garage Beers. They just messaged us. They said they love the Advent beer episodes. They think it's great. Keep it coming. They said so.
There it is. So
Appreciate you boys.
all of us on Belly Up, come listen to us. We got some crazy takes. Sokoa Media, listen to Joe. Joe's got some great stuff going on as well.
The app.
We always appreciate Joe and everything he does. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Look out for some merch. Apple. We're on Apple Podcasts. Look out for some merch. Listen to us argue about Zach Wilson and Brett Gardner. And
boys, we still have that. We have that Capo Caco T-shirt up for grabs. Call in, leave a crazy message. Free merch.
In about 2 weeks, we'll have our bets decided about who's going to be wearing the
pajamas.
And then we'll figure that out. And last but not least, I forgot what I was going to say. Last but not least, make sure that you just follow us on all our. No, that's a big one. Happy
don't
holidays.
drink and drive. And if you do, call Rook.
Last but not least, we've established that if this was Ocean's 11, TJ and I would be the Mormon twins, and Rook would be Ruben. But please call us, give us a voicemail, give us a message, 609-795-1391. Call that number, 609-795-1391. Thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate you.
Stay rock.